Well, welcome back to the Valley Hoops Insider podcast, part of the Valley Hoops Insider website. I'm Harry Schroder, and joining us today is the head basketball coach at Valparaiso. That's Roger Powell Jr. right there in a bright yellow shirt. Love that shirt, Coach. Thanks for spending time with us today. Go Beacons. Honestly, when I print out your roster before the season starts, it still says Crusaders at the top, so I'm still a little behind. But anyway, appreciate you taking time with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Harry.
You had a busy off season, obviously. A lot of guys heading to the portal and different things. All kinds of new players. It's been busy. After all that's said and done, and the dust has settled a little bit, how do you feel about a very hectic, busy off season where you had to recruit a ton of guys, add a coach, and those kinds of things?
I'm actually excited. I mean, no different than last year. We got a relatively new team. A couple guys that are coming back. But this group I think this group has a chance to be special. Last year's group was special. They helped get Valpo basketball a little more respect. Obviously went from 7 wins my first year to 15 wins. And to be honest, man, we were right there in the conference tournament, minute away from potentially getting to the conference championship. I know a lot of people were surprised with that. So I think just the culture that we've established, I think the type of players that we've recruited, I added a couple coaches and they've done an awesome job recruiting. I think we're primed to make another jump, and I'm excited.
You mentioned that culture, and you're a guy that beats a drum, positive reinforcement, optimism, belief, those kinds of things. And when I read through every bio of every new player, like, okay, hey, they're coming to Valpo, every one of them said culture, coaches, family, faith. You take pride in that kind of thing. I mean, that's what you're really aiming at.
Yeah, and don't forget grit. Grit definitely.
That's right. Sorry.
But, I think for us, you would say, man, these guys transferred last year and like what's going on? But it's the same thing, man. It's the culture doesn't change. My stance does not change. I am a transformational coach, not transactional coach. And I think even the way that we treated some of the guys that decided to transfer, I mean, they still were here working out. They were eating our shakes, and just because I love them and I appreciate what they did for our program. So, I think people see that. We're going to keep recruiting the same type of caliber players. I think the one thing I will thank last year's group for is they elevated the level of player we can go out and get just because we were competitive, and they saw what, we've done with the development, having back-to-back freshman of the year, seeing guys go from, freshman of the year to second team all conference. Our guys get better, and it's a fun brand of basketball. Unfortunately, there's a lot of transfers now, so it's a sad thing. But at the same time, I get to impact more kids, and I get to do the same thing with this group that hopefully we can keep around for a while.
You have 7 freshmen or freshmen and redshirt freshmen, so one of them's got to be freshman of the year, right?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I've had back-to-back freshman of the year, and they're both other schools. So, hopefully it'd be awesome to get freshman of the year and they stay. But, we're not really so focused on just the individual goals. That's part of our culture too. Just as well as I'm not focused on, head coaching awards and I don't care about that. I want my guys to have an awesome experience. I want them to experience winning. I want them to experience their goals. So in any way we can do that to help the system in that, that's what we're about here. And if that is freshman of the year, if it's all league, if it's newcomer of the year, so be it. But I want to cut down nets at Valpo.
But I mentioned 7 freshmen. Not a lot of people are recruiting freshmen these days, but for you, that's obviously become a focus.
It has. I mean, I love developing guys. I mean, that's been my whole career. Obviously, we're good at it. I think having freshmen that can play. I mean, hopefully, some of these guys will really value, Valpo, value playing, staying close to home. The thing about the 2 guys I had transferred that were freshman year, they both were from Missouri and they were from the Kansas area. I have a lot of freshmen that are from Illinois, Indiana now, and I'm recruiting that area. So there's a little more pride about being close to home, which I hope that will resonate. But at the same time, I think freshmen are being overlooked too, because everyone is so focused on the portal. Every team I've coached over my career That's from my Valpo days as an assistant, shoot, Vanderbilt to Gonzaga. High school kids have been the guys that have been like really, really good for those programs. So I'm not going to lose sight of that. I'm going to stick to what I know works.
You mentioned recruiting the area. I think 14 of the 16 guys are either Indiana or Illinois. A lot of them Chicagoland players. That's important to you as well. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where I'm from. You know, and I'm from Joliet, Illinois. I went and played at Illinois. My first coaching job was back at Valpo, which, you know, Valpo is Northwest Indiana, but it could be a suburb of Chicago in a way. So I think it's important to be able to be a place where these local kids can go and they can play basketball and their families can come watch them play. I also think, you know, that the media in this local media, you know, it in a weird way it prioritizes those guys, but it's because they're from the cities that, you know, the people who are watching the news are from. So yeah, I'm excited about that. The other thing is, you know, from a transfer standpoint, we do have some really dynamic transfers. So I think we've done a good job of meshing our young youth with some transfers now that can really help. And that's one thing that I think is going to help us this year. But even the transfers, we want guys that have gone to other schools maybe and it didn't work out great, or higher programs or whatever, and they want to come back home. So I think there's just so many avenues that has allowed us to get a lot of local talent here at Valpo.
Two of those Division I transfers, Owen Deese and Isaiah Barnes. Talked about those two guys. They're the two that are coming to you with really significant Division I experience.
Absolutely. And, you know, I was recruiting Isaiah Barnes back when I was at Vanderbilt. So I've known the family for a long time. So that was a relationship thing. I mean, Levante Doherty is my first recruit here at Valpo. Now I hired him as my assistant coach. He had a great relationship with, you know, Barnes. So, you know, to be able to see kids that you've watched, that you've recruited at other schools, go and play and do things in Division I programs. I mean, Barnes was at Michigan. He was a, you know, 4-star recruit, and, you know, he put up decent numbers at Tulsa. I mean, that's a high level transfer that we haven't been able to get here. Same thing with Owen Deese. You know, Jesse McClung, the coach that I just hired, has done an awesome job helping us recruit Indiana. You know, he had a relationship with Owen Deese, and Owen, I mean, he's played in the NCAA tournament for crying out loud. Had 16 points at Purdue, and he's played in big games, and he has great size. And so, you know, to be able to add those type of transfers to Valpo, we weren't getting that my first couple of years here, and I think that's an area that's going to really help us, you know, to go along with the young talented freshmen that we have.
So the freshmen, the two D1 guys, then you've got a number of players, Division II, NAIA, junior college guys. I don't want to use that old phrase like chip on the shoulder, but these are guys that, man, this is an opportunity for them. Like they've kind of graduated into a new great opportunity.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at these guys. I mean, not a lot of people probably know about them, but Sean Tupula and, you know, Tucker Turanada and Brody Whitaker. I mean, those are some ballers, man. And we saw last year with Drake. I mean, it doesn't matter what level you're from. You know, there's good players at D2 level. There's great players at NAI level. And, you know, one of the things that I love about, you know, those guys and actually all of our guys on our team, there's really not any entitlement. And that's been a blessing to coach over the last 5 months, these guys being here. I mean, they're grateful for the opportunity, and they're grateful for the type of head coach I am, grateful for the assistants I have, and grateful to being at Valpo. That's pretty unique, and I think that's going to hopefully help us, you know, once we get started playing games.
I used to announce games in the NAIA, and we'd have Division I guys slip down into our program, and they weren't any better at the NAIA level than they were at the Division I level. What I mean is they supposedly went down, and they weren't any more dominant. And so I started noticing that, and I thought, whoa, some of these guys can go play with the big boys, and that's what we've been learning the last 3, 4, 5 years in college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had D2 guys winning our conference last year, and basically going to the Sweet 16. So, yeah, I mean, basketball is basketball. There's talent everywhere, and you just, in this day and age, you got to be creative, and you got to know where to go find it.
The mood, the buzz, the optimism on campus about Beacon basketball. Give us the temperature read on people's enthusiasm.
It's coming back. I mean, I thought last year was a huge step up. I mean, even our first year here, you know, we didn't win a lot of games, but our guys competed. They played great. I think our fans appreciated that. But last year's team was a team that took another major jump. And I think, man, towards the end of the year, we were playing NCAA tournament basketball, and people saw that improvement. So, being able to add the talented players that we did, the Division I transfers, the NEIA Division II transfers, and some talented high school kids. And I don't want to ignore JUCO. We've been able to go out and get some really high level JUCO players. Mark Brown Jr. is a kid that's he's going to turn some heads this season for us. So, I think people see that. I think they see the quality of players we've gotten. I think they see the track record of development and how the teams keep getting better. There's a buzz. And I think they're just excited to just meet and see these new guys.
I am no expert at these recruiting. Like, I read guys' bios and I can, read recruiting sites and all of that. But when I look at the people you've assembled, you've got some veterans that can handle the ball. You've got a lot more size. This seems like a good recipe, Roger Powell. It seems like you have put together something that can be a little tougher in the places you need to be to compete in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that was part of the plan. I came here kind of with a 4-year plan to get to the place where we could contend for a championship level. And I think finally, I'm not saying we're a championship team. I mean, because our league is extremely tough, and these are great coaches that are in our conference, and it's great players and coaches that have left. Great coaches have come in, and they've done a great job recruiting. But I think over the last couple of years, size has been an issue. Experience has been an issue. So we had to correct that. We got more size, and we've gotten some guys that have pretty decent experience at the Division I level to transfer here. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get in and compete and keep playing with that chip on our shoulder, keep playing with grit, keep feeling like, we're overlooked, because we are. And we're going to earn the name, earn the respect that I think Valpo deserves.
You talked about the run at Arch Madness. It was electric in that building when the Beacons were on the floor. I mean, you guys were playing great basketball, and the building was abuzz. It's like, wait a minute, Valpo could win this thing. And it was like, it took over the building for a while. That's like kind of one of those hallmark steps in the progress, isn't it?
Without doubt. And, there was so much disrespect around us, my first year. And obviously I came on late, and it was hard to recruit, the caliber player that can really, really compete in this league. But I had some talented young kids. I had a kid like Darius Javario, who really hadn't done much, that came out of his shell and became a decent player. But, I came with that in mind. I came back to build a championship program in the Valley. And Valpo is known for championships. I was here for 5 years, and we won a lot of championships. So, I have a chip. I have a fat passion. I have a fire, and I have a belief that we can get back to that level. And last year was just the start to where I think this program couldn't get to, and where this program should be. Now, unfortunately, I have a different obstacle now. It's called a transfer portal, NIL. So, got a couple more curveballs thrown at me. But man, we're figuring it out. And, obviously I have a strong faith in God. Jesus has really blessed the work of my hands over the years. And, I think with hard work, faith, a strong faith, and a strong culture, anything's possible.
You added some new coaches. Tell us about them. And then in the mix of that, I've been asking coaches, there's been a trend in college basketball in recent years where coaches are starting to have kind of defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, changing the way the scouts are taking place. Where are you in that continuum? And tell us about your new coaches.
So, super excited about Levante Doherty. Obviously, I mentioned him to you. He's been working with Adidas for a long time, working with them, some high-level players there, the grassroots program. Levante was my first recruit here, transferred from South Florida, came back home to Chicago area. All league players. So I've watched him over the years, and he's grown, and I'm so excited to bring him back. He brings a great level of energy. He's going to help us in recruiting, and he's very relatable to the players, which I think is important in this day and age. He's going to help us hopefully retain some of our guys, and he's great in development. So, great to have some young energy with him that also has done it on the Valpo court. But then also Jesse McClung. We played him a couple years ago in an exhibition game. He was at St. Mary's of Wood, the university that was at the bottom. He went there and won over 50 games, got him to the Sweet 16. And he had a big fella on this team that gave us problems both times we played him. And, when he was looking to, get in Division I, it was like, hey, man, I had an opportunity to get a really good head coach. And he's dynamic. He's been here, like I said, for about 4 or 5 months now. And he's helped us recruit a lot of guys here. And specifically the big fella that really gave us problems, which I'm happy about him being on our side now. But just his energy, his knowledge, his winning pedigree. He's been a great recruiter, even though it was at the NAIA level. Man, he's recruited a lot of high level players at that level. So those two guys being added to our program, they're going to really help assist us to take another jump. And then like Pat Baldwin and Matt Gordon and Quentin Garrison, Sean. I mean, these guys have been with me, and they know the system, they know the culture. And it's a good mesh, some new energy and some guys that have been through it a couple of years with me now. And it's all starting to come together pretty nicely.
And how do you divide up the labor? Is there like kind of a guy that's got the defense and a guy that's got the offense, or does Pat Baldwin have this scout and Fred has this scout and so forth?
Well, we do. I'm sorry, I didn't answer that question the first time, but I think so. We have guys that are kind of more focused on defense. So like Pat's more of like our defensive guy, but we all kind of chime in. Jesse McClung is a very good defensive coach. They kind of tag team the defense a little bit. That's kind of my envision of how things will go this season. Matt Gordon, Flash is his nickname. He has the best nickname in college basketball. But he's our like offensive guy. So him and I kind of work closely on the offense. And Sean Taylor, who does our video, has a great offensive mind. So, those guys kind of help offensively help us get it going and look at things, create new innovative ways to make what we do better. So that's been great. And then the scouts, we kind of have the same model I've learned, over the years of coaching, at Gonzaga. If it was my scout, that was my game. And, if we lost it, like I took a lot of passion in it, especially at Gonzaga. We didn't lose much. So if you lose a game, that's, you're going to feel it. But so we kind of do that too. Like all 3 assistants will kind of split scouts, but we're all kind of hands on deck. We're all in. There's just one coach that's kind of leading it with me.
When you have so many new guys like this, and you had your summer workouts, and now you guys, they're back on campus and things are going. Some coaches are like, I want to put in the offense so they know how to play. They can figure out defense later because they've all played 5-on-5. Some guys are like, oh no, we got to learn how to stop and we'll worry about scoring later. And obviously there could be a balance between the two. Do you lean one way or the other with a team like this that's mostly new players?
We do a decent amount of both, but I think like the summer and the preseason is just getting them to play our way. And that's offensively and defensively, like just our core principles. We have a way that we play, and I don't want guys thinking about it. Now we have sets that we'll add in. We have some, defensive schemes that we'll add in. But I want them to understand our core principles to where it's just like when you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you don't think about it. I want them to play basketball that way, where they play fun, fast, and free with a whole lot of faith. That's kind of our thing. So, a lot of summer was predicated on getting to play our way. Now, as we start getting closer to boot camp and getting closer to, games in October, we start to kind of add some of the intricacies to, our schemes and different things that we do depending on what teams you're playing. So that's kind of how it was laid out from, June all the way up into, September 11th.
And getting them enmeshed into the Valpo way, the way you guys want to play, and getting to know each other. There's an art form to that, isn't it? All the fun things that you do with them and, the off the court kinds of things you do. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's been big. I mean, barbecues at my house in the summer are just like extremely important. They're just as important as, our 4 hours that we get on the court and, the weight room. And then, the stuff that we do in the community, with the Res Foundation and just the mentorship things, being a part of that and just kind of getting them to understand, what our DNA wall means. We have a DNA wall with like sayings. And one of them is boys to men, you know, and that with our team times and the different speakers I have, like all that is crucial for us to build a team and build chemistry with a bunch of new guys in such a short time.
And finally, I should let you go. When I think about you, I think about your faith in the Lord, the way you're outspoken about your own particular way you want to live and express your faith. How does that help you as a head coach? What kind of advantage is that for you as you seek to mentor and encourage and help develop these young men?
I think the biggest thing, obviously, I believe God is engaged in my life. I mean, I've had too many experiences to have anyone deny that. And Jesus is absolutely the Lord of my life. I mean, the focus of everything I do is the center of my faith and my relationship with Christ. But I think one thing that I learned a lot from the coaches. Bryce Drew, Homer Drew, Bill Self. But the last coach I coached for was Mark Few, and he was so comfortable in his own skin, like what he was about, the way he wanted to run a program, the way he wanted to play, who he was as a coach. Like there was no swaying him. He was very strong in his identity, and for me, like having my faith be so important in just the fiber of everything I do, even just from our DNA wall to our grit chain, like. There's faith, there's biblical wisdom in all of this. Like, I have a firm purpose. I have a firm vision, and it's who I am. It's who we are. So I think that identity helps, and I think even in the way that we play, fun, fast, and free, with a whole lot of faith. I mean, it's just these are things that came from my relationship with Christ and my time in the Word of God. So. I think the advantage is I know who I am. I know how I'm coaching. I know what our program is. I know what it stands for. So there's no guessing. And I think that consistency has what helped me be successful as an assistant. And I think it's what's going to help me be successful as a head coach as well.
You've said that a couple of times. Fun, fast, free, with a lot of faith. During that run at Arch Madness, your guys were free, man. I mean, they were having fun in the midst of all of that. What might be pressure, they were free.
They were. And it's interesting. We talk about scripture. One of my favorite verses, actually two of them I'll share. You got me going now. You got to get the revs going. Romans 8:28, it says, all things work for good. All things work together for good for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. And you think about that 9-game losing streak we had during the season, and how hard that was. I mean, there was a lot of good that came from that, man. It brought us closer together. We didn't break. We stuck through. It gave us grit. It gave us that fire. So when we played in the tournament, man, we had been through a 9-game losing streak, man. We had close games that we lost. We were ready to just say, let's let it rip and go out and just play, because we've been through some tough things. And the other thing is, James chapter 1, verse 2, I believe it says, count it all joy when you go through tests and trials of many kind, because the testing of your faith develops perseverance, so that you be mature, not lacking anything. And I think when you watched us play, that's what you saw. You saw a team that been through adversity. You saw a program like Valparaiso University men's basketball program had been through so much, and it's made us mature. It made us strong, and that was a mature team, a young team, inexperienced but mature, because we went through the fire, and that's kind of where our staff is. That's where I believe our program is, and we're just going to keep fighting. We're going to keep growing, and eventually, when we do cut nets, it's going to be that maturity that came from the grit, the pushing, the pressing, the faith, the praying, the working. It's going to be a combination of all those things.
Appreciate your time today. Wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to this new collection of beacons and how they're all going to come together. Final thought, I should ask you this. How do you feel about your schedule?
Tough. Absolutely tough. And I think part of that was done, because we had new league mandates, which is great, because hopefully it helps us have higher rankings in the net. But also part of it was done because I wanted to be tested, and I wanted to play some tough teams to challenge our guys and prepare us for the grueling Missouri Valley days. So I'm excited about some of the games we have. You know, we're going to Kentucky, going to Marquette, going to Northwestern.
But who are the tough teams you're playing? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. UNC Wilmington here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really good. Cleveland stay on the road. So, we have a great schedule for this team, and I'm excited to see how they respond to the challenging schedule.
Appreciate your time today. Wish you all the best. I'm supposed to say this. My people keep telling me I'm supposed to ask people watching this to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There, I said it. I'm so bad at this stuff. Anyway, Roger Powell, thanks for your time today. Wish you all the best and look forward to seeing you down the road.
Thank you, Harry. Great to talk with you.
God bless. That's Roger Powell. He's the head basketball coach at Valparaiso, the Beacons, with a new mix of players. Should be an exciting season for them. Folks, thanks for watching. Remember, since you've been there, make it a better place. We'll see you again real soon.